Y'all out there? What's up? I know this was very short notice, so it's a miracle that any of y'all are even in here. What's up, everybody? Hey, friends. I just wanted to kind of get you guys' take on this. I know I only put up the notice for this live like half an hour ago, and that's because I only the side eye. I only decided to go live about half an hour ago, and I can't stay on all that long because I do have a dinner to go to. One of my friends is moving back to Chicago, and she wasn't going to tell us. She was going to Irish goodbye, and we were like, no, we're having a dinner. So I have to get to that after this. But I just saw this interview with Jermaine Dupri, and I know you guys didn't have much time to check out the link that I put in the description box. So the TLDR is, hey, everyone who's just coming in. Yeah, I got my hair braided yesterday. I still have my edges tied down so that they'll look nice when I leave. So I'm still like in my home mode. I just got dressed, but once we get off of here, I got to untie my edges and head out the door. But so Jermaine Dupri, he was being interviewed by People, or I think it must have been people.com, because it was a video interview in a studio with two hosts, the whole nine. And the host asked him, this is the clip that I saw because the Shade Room posted it. I don't even follow the Shade Room, so I don't even know how I saw this. I don't remember. Somehow in my internet wanderings today, these hosts asked him if there were any rappers who stood out to him, to Jermaine Dupri, and they were like Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, and he was stumped, shall we say? He didn't know what to say, and he went on to say that he couldn't really say, who, if any, rappers stood out to them. Oh, thank you, Siggy. My super trainer fund. Thank you. Look, every penny counts. But Jermaine Dupri, he was saying that he couldn't say, if he had any favorite rappers or anything at the moment, because he feels like they're all rapping about the same thing, and they're not even showing who is the current best rapper. And he said it's like strippers rapping. And I was just like, oh, he's going to catch some heat for this. And then he's also going to have people saying, oh, he's saying nothing but truth. He's speaking facts. And in some cases, he is speaking facts. I mean, let's be real. Cardi B, hello. I mean, she don't dance now. She make money moves. But she was a stripper before. And there are a lot of redundancies amongst the current crop of mainstream women rappers, or at least the women rappers who have been able to go mainstream. And it's one of the most blatant ways that we've seen this old adage that sex sells. I mean, I'm tired of hearing it. I've been hearing it my whole life, and I'm sure that phrase existed well before then, but it seems to be as true as it ever has been. And I just think it's a major oversight on Jermaine Dupri's part that he failed to acknowledge that nearly all the mainstream male rappers also all talk about the same things. I mean, they're not talking about the fact that they don't have to dance anymore, but all the male rappers talk about the same shit: drugs, dealing and or doing them, money, women, lather, rinse, repeat. It's the same thing from the guys too, at least mainstream wise. I can't stress that enough. Radio rap it's all the same thing. It's just that the template for the women rappers is different from the one for the men. And I don't know, the so-called stripper rappers. I mean, those just aren't the only women in rap, even right now. There's the ones who go mainstream, the Cardi B's, Megan Thee Stallion, City Girls, whatever. Chica, who went viral a couple of years ago because of her rap about Kanye West. She was in a Calvin Klein ad recently, and I believe she finally got signed to a label, and she's incredible. But I bet most of you guys, well, actually, y'all are fucking intelligent and with it as fuck. So you guys probably know who Chica is, but most people don't know who Chica is. They know Cardi B. And as much as I want Cardi B level of success for someone like Chica, history, thank you so much, MMA Kai Kai, Portois. Historically, that is not going to be the path to success for her. I think she's going to have a different road that she's going to have to walk. Mumu Fresh, another woman MC who I follow on IG, she actually responded to Jermaine Dupri's statements from, I guess, today. I'm not sure exactly when this interview was. But Mumu Fresh doesn't do ratchet girl rap. She's an amazing MC. And she was pretty candid, though, about the fact that she doesn't do that, how that's made it a really hard road for her. And I don't know if that's ever going to change. I feel like the MCs who made this choice made so strategically and for reasons that I think are pretty obvious. I grew up in the 90s, so I remember Lil' Kim and Foxy Brown pretty well. So this isn't new to me. Like, I've been having this whole internal dialogue of how it's very deja vu-ish to have these hypersexual female MCs with the City Girls and so on, because it's like the 90s all over again. I mean, ratchet girl rap wouldn't exist if it weren't for Kim and Foxy. This is just the updated version of it, in my opinion. I just think that back then there was more of a balance in terms of the female MCs who were out there, and they weren't all super sexually provocative, shall we say. There was, slightly before my time, MC Lyte and Queen Latifah. And then if you want to go more into my generation, there's Jean Grae, who, in my opinion, has never gotten the recognition that she deserves. I mean, she's still around, but how many people out there know Jean Grae? And even Nicki Minaj. I mean, Nicki Minaj is mainstream, period. And she saw to that. She saw to that she would get to go mainstream because she pivoted in terms of her music style with her second album, Pink Friday Reload, or whatever the fuck, with starships and all that pop music on it. And then she was like a host on American Idol. Like, she wanted to be mainstream. And I think Nicki, she plays both sides to a large degree. Like, she participates in her own objectification heavily, with the giant ass and the big fake boobs. But Nicki can rap. I don't think her flow has evolved since Pink Friday personally, but at least she's not just a karaoke rapper, cough, cough, Cardi B, cough, cough, and she can actually write her own rhymes. And I don't know. I think it's interesting to see, like, there's another renaissance, so to speak, of women in rap right now. And I've been wanting to talk about this whole thing of ratchet girl rap with you guys for a while. Like, it's been on my very long list of things for upcoming Tea Talks, but I was and still am forming my thoughts on everything. In fact, I kind of jumped the gun with this live today because, like, Jermaine Dupri's comments just made me want to kind of be in the moment and hop on and see what you guys think. But I just have complicated feelings about the extreme sexualization of the current crop of women rappers because, I follow, Chica and Mumu Fresh, but I also do follow Megan Thee Stallion and some of these others on Instagram. And every video of concert performances, it's literally them just twerking on stage, just like booty shaking, bent over. I mean, quite frankly, once your hands are on your knees, think about your choices. I don't know. I do support them in asserting their sexuality, whether it's claiming or reclaiming the power in their sexuality after women continue to be objectified in the entire history of rap. I mean, since day one, we've been objectified in rap, and that is not to be confused with hip hop. Rap is something you do, hip hop is something you live. And that is a direct quotation from teacher KRS-One. Shout out to him. I feel like KRS-One comes up so often in my Tea Talks. Anyway, I think I'm just struggling with whether this music and these performances and these presentations from City Girls, Megan Thee Stallion, and so forth are just internalizing the same objectification that's been forced on us all this time. I've been talking about this phenomenon a lot in my race-related videos lately, where internalized racism is redirected outwards in various ways, like colorism. And I'm wrestling with how empowering this really is for women. The so-called stripper rap, as Jermaine Dupri would call it, really, because in a lot of ways, it's just furthering this problem of relying on sex to sell. That machine is just being fueled more than ever. And the women MCs who talk about other things are still on the fringes and in backpacks. And I guess because I listen to backpack rap, I'm aware of them. But I also know that, when I hear I listened to Megan Thee Stallion's album Fever one time through, and I was just like, okay, well, good for her. You know, like I support her objectively, but like it just doesn't resonate with me personally. Like I'm struggling with getting on this train, and I don't know. I wanted to talk to you guys and see what you think as well. Bye, Siggy. Don't work too hard. Yeah, H Nika Kabik. I think I agree with you. Like I think they deserve to have their moment. You know, if they want to sell sex, have at it. I just don't know if like I see that being the road that we want to go down, just like as women, as a society. Like I'm wondering. I don't know. I'm just struggling it. Right. Good point, Aruka. I mean, it's not really like up to Jermaine Dupri to like decide why were they even asking him who the best I guess because he's like a legendary producer, but like, I don't know. I think that's a good point, Anya. I do think, like I was saying earlier, I think a lot of these rappers realize that this is a tactic, you know, to literally be wearing thongs and stuff on stage because that will get you attention. I don't know if they're actually going to do a bait and switch and actually be like, actually, here's what we need to talk about. Let's talk about real issues. Let's talk about social issues here. I don't know if that's going to happen because it hasn't happened yet. And then if you're talking about the Cardi B's of the world who don't write their reps anyway, like, is she going to hire someone to write socially conscious rap for her? Probably not. Real talk, I agree. And that's what I'm struggling with. I feel like there are other female rappers who aren't doing this, who are more talented and should have these same opportunities and bigger ones by comparison. I mean, not to throw too much shade, but like I have listened to City Girls here and there. And at first I thought it was like funny. Like I thought it just sounded funny. And then one of them, I think it's Young Miami. Is she not on beat or am I taking crazy pills? Like I listened to Act Up for like the 8th time because it was on the radio the other day. And I was just like, yet again, I'm listening to the song and I feel like she's not on beat. Like what is happening? Independence, you think the new lady rappers aren't good. See, there are great ones, but they're not the ones that we're hearing about. Stanks Bad, I agree with you on that too. I don't think it should be up to men telling us like, oh, you seem like a stripper rapping or whatever. Like no one asked you, even though, again, Cardi B literally is. I think my issue is whether this is truly self-empowerment where we're, you know, body positivity, self-love, self-actualization, all of that, or if we are taking the male gaze and using and just responding to that the same way we always have been and then calling it something else. I think that's what I'm struggling with. Like, is this really women's empowerment or is it the same? Is this just a way to think we're rebelling against the male gaze when we are not? Business account says she's not on beat. I feel seen. Thank you. Oh, did she style file? I didn't see that Cardi B did that. Okay. Yeah. One Beauty One, that's an interesting question. Because perhaps I'm having this conflict because of my internalized, you know, misogyny or misogynoir. I don't think it would be different for me if it were a white female rapper, but I probably wouldn't be paying too much attention to white female rappers, to be perfectly honest with you, because most of them, this is also going to open like a whole different can of worms, but it seems to me that I don't know too many white female rappers, but I know there was that one. What was her name? she got into some hot water, and there was this whole discussion of, again, Black men in the music industry being the gatekeepers and deciding that she was allowed to say the N-word, or what was her name? Yes, Jules, I want to say. She's so irrelevant. But I saw some clip where she was on some show, and some guy there was just like, "You're Spanish, right? That means you Black." And I was just like, this guy doesn't get it at all. So it's already Iggy Azalea. There's a good one. That's actually a great example of my point. It's the caricaturization of the Black woman. You know, it might as well be a Kardashian rapping when I look at Iggy Azalea. You've taken certain aspects of what it is to, stereotypically at least, be a Black woman, and now you're rapping. So I've got a whole lot of baggage when it comes to the white female rappers as they've been presented thus far. Unless and until I see something different, I'm going to have issues. Yeah, Jerry, yes, Jules, it finally came to me, but I had never even heard of her until she got into trouble. And apparently, like, when I heard about it, she had already gotten into trouble several times in the past. But, you know, it's the same old culture vulturism, and I'm just really tired of it. Like I said, it might as well be one of the Kardashians dropping an album. It's no different to me. Real talk. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're responding to when you say, like, when Megan says and you drop that line. I think Megan has some great lines, like, "Send him a pic of somebody else's titties." I'm probably going to steal that and use that as a caption on my Instagram sooner than later, because I just think that's such that is a great line and a great concept. I love that. So that's kind of where I think Rocco had said it earlier. My braids are fresh when mangoes bloom, or when Mang blooms. So do we. I just got them done yesterday. That's when my edges are still tied down, because I got to run out of here and go to a dinner soon. But is it me and my own hangups? Am I being prude? Am I being judgmental because of expectations men place on women that I'm now placing on other women? You know what I mean? Like, I'm struggling with that. Or is it also, or I mean, all of these things can be happening. These things are not mutually exclusive. All of these things can be true. It can also be that perhaps this, often vulgar. I mean, I hate to use such a negative word, but some of this content is vulgar in terms of, like, the stage costumes and everything. Is it reclaiming sexuality while still having that reclamation be informed by the male gaze? I don't know. I don't know. I think that's a great point, H. Nika Kabik. Beauty fades. Beauty fades. And as a matter of fact, I think that's been a huge thing that Nicki Minaj has been struggling with in recent years. Not to say that she isn't beautiful any longer, but just because she isn't 21. I think, like, Megan Thee Stallion is still in college, I think. Like, it's crazy. She's so young. And Nicki Minaj is in her 30s, which is, that ain't young. Not in hip hop, not in the rap game, not in show business. That ain't young, especially if you're a woman, because unfortunately for women, we get to age in fucking dog years. I'm with you, Wiggy Whack. I mean, for whatever reason, the music itself doesn't resonate with me. Like, I don't really see myself putting on Megan Thee Stallion's music to listen to, but I support her. Like, I follow her on Instagram, and I like to see what she's up to. And I just like her, even though I mean, this is true for me about quite a few people in music. Like, there's people who I just like, even though I don't really like their music, doesn't hit for me. And Megan Thee Stallion is one of them. Like, and quite frankly, despite her very, very revealing outfits most of the time, if I look like that, maybe I would be walking around like that too, because she is a stallion. She is stacked. Lakisa, I think for some of them, yes, and for some of them, no, in terms of reclaiming anything. Like, I think Megan, to me in particular, is reclaiming just based on the lyrics in a lot of her songs. Like, she seems to me very much about women's empowerment, the whole hot girl summer, where my hotties at. I think that's very much about being hot to yourself, defining hot for yourself, that kind of thing. But then again, I go back and forth with like, well, is she wearing booty shorts because she likes them or because like guys like to see girls in booty? You know what I mean? But I mean, both things are true. Both things are true and can be true. Like, it doesn't mean that because I've got my own hangups about like, oh, like, is that too revealing? Is that really just furthering our own objectification? That's my issue. That's not Megan's issue. That's not Young Miami's issue or whoever. So it's a very complex issue and one that I'm still kind of unpacking. Sarah, you're with me. You're equally just mystified by what to make of all this. That makes me feel a bit better. Yeah, I think Lakisa, I do think I do remember something about Cardi B saying I wasn't trying to be a role model. Unfortunately, people put that on celebrities a lot. You know, if you're in the public eye, then oh, little girls are looking up to you. It's just like, well, that's a parent's problem. Like, that's called parenting. You know, and I do agree with that quite a bit, honestly, because Cardi B has never made her music seem to be catered to children at all. The same thing happened to Rihanna years ago. And if you know anything about Rihanna, she does not shy away from a clapback. So when people were saying that she was setting a bad example for children, she was just like, it's not my job to set an example for your kids, something to that effect. And I agree. I do think that you have a responsibility for what you put out there in a lot of ways, but in terms of like raising someone else's kids, unless you came out, you know, through rapping on Dora the Explorer, and then all of a sudden you bait and switch and become Cardi B, then maybe people can complain. But Cardi B has always been Cardi B. Jerry, yeah, I agree with you. And I also think, though, that the phenomenon of elder statesmen in the rap game is new, partially because rap as a genre isn't all that old. You know, like a lot of the original founders of hip hop and rap music, most, I would say, I would hope, are still alive. Um, so it's kind of an interesting thing to see. Like, are we going to have like a Rolling Stone situation where Jay-Z is going to be on stage at like 60, 70 years old? We'll have to see. Life with Ash, I said the same exact thing. Sex sells, and I completely understand the impetus for this moment in rap music with stripper rappers. And for those who do, because I would say even City Girls to a large extent are asserting independence and dominance. I mean, they talk about like robbing guys, like all kinds of stuff. So it's just been really interesting, and yeah, I'm not sure what to make of it all just yet, but I guess I'm still just watching and seeing. H. Nika, Kabik, yeah, absolutely. It's not just Rihanna, and it's not just these rappers selling sex. Sex sells across all businesses and, you know, forms of entertainment. That's always true. I think Rihanna has been able to diversify her brand in a lot of unexpected ways. Like, she announced, I think today on Instagram, that she actually has an album coming out this year. And I almost forgot that she even made music, because like she used to release at least an album every year and a half. Like, if you look back at her discography, Rihanna was always on it. She always had another album coming out constantly, constantly, constantly. And then since the launch of her beauty line and now her fashion line and then Savage X Fenty, all that, it seems that she's shifted her focus quite a bit because, you know, you only have so much time. So she's had, I think, probably the longest break she's ever had since her last album to whatever this next one is going to be. And it'll be interesting to see if the Cardi B's and Megan Thee Stallions branch out like that after they are more established, once they have that longevity. Because Rihanna, I think, had built so much of her rep that she was able to kind of cool it in the studio for a bit and focus on other things. So that was a luxury afforded to her by the fact that she's been in the game for over a decade now at this point. Yeah, me see Salt and Pepper, and Salt and Pepper talked about social issues too. I think they were able to play both sides of the fence in a much less extreme way than, say, a Nicki Minaj. Because Salt and Pepper, you know, they had Let's Talk About Sex. Like, they talked about, I mean, Do You Really Want Me? A lot of their songs talk about just relationship dynamics, the struggles between men and women, and it's not about like twerking in the club. But I don't think that Salt and Pepper was ever sexualized in the way, say, Nicki Minaj, and nowhere close to a Cardi B. Lex, that's an interesting point. Yeah, you know, I mean, I feel like when we hear about male rappers, it's usually because they're in trouble for something or other, quite honestly. Like A$AP Rocky having his issue right now. All right, you guys, it's 6:41 where I am, so I do have to kind of jump soon. I just wanted to kind of get you guys' ear, see if I could talk to you and try to kind of work through my own issues. You guys definitely gave me some good food for thought as I'm kind of, I don't know, sussing out how I feel about stripper rap. Yeah. Honestly, H. Nika Kebik, I think the growth of Rihanna and expanding into beauty and fashion was very natural because she's been a style icon almost more than I think about her for music, because I like Rihanna's music. Okay. Like I like a few songs here and there, but like, I don't think I've ever even listened to a Rihanna album front to back. No tea, no shade. I don't really get down with pop music quite like that. So like, I like a few of her songs here and there, but I've always liked her. Like, this goes back to what I was saying earlier, actually, about even Megan Thee Stallion. It's like, I don't necessarily love your music, but I like you and I support you in your individuality and being who you are and cementing yourself, cementing your image, cementing your brand. Like, I'm on board with that. Thank you, business account. Yeah, Felicia, we will see if stripper rap is here to stay or if it will have another lull. Because again, I feel like Little Kim, Foxy, that was version 1. This is version 2. So we'll see if it sticks around or if there is kind of a backlash to this of some sort. I don't know. We didn't have social media back then with Little Kim and Foxy Brown. So I don't know how that would have affected them and changed things. And as someone else pointed out earlier, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting who, but beauty fades. So are you really going to be on stage wearing, you know, chaps and twerking when you're 50? Might not be the best look. All right, you guys, thanks for listening to me and giving me your insight. I really value it. In fact, for the chat that I missed, I may actually, like, when I get back from my dinner, just go home and read through because you guys always have such interesting thoughts on everything we talk about. But anyway, I'm going to go. You guys have a good rest of your night or day, whatever time it is, wherever you are. I'm going to make sure my edges are still properly swooped. My no edges, because I don't even have edges. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.